The spaceport was alive with the hum of engines, the chatter of different languages, and the flashing of signs that promised every kind of galactic service imaginable. Ships of all sizes hovered and docked, crews rushing to unload cargo or passengers. In the middle of this chaos, humans moved with a mix of purpose and curiosity. Their species, despite being younger in the interstellar scene, had a strange way of standing out. They were loud, unpredictable, and somehow impossibly adaptable. Leora had never seen humans up close before. She had traveled from the Andari cluster for the first time to study human behavior. She had read all the reports. Humans were clever, emotional, reckless, and most importantly, curious. Now, as she walked along the crowded platform, she could see it herself. Humans of all shapes, sizes, and temperaments hustled past aliens, androids, and robotic port attendants. It was a mess, but somehow it worked. She spotted him across the terminal. Adrian, Captain Adrian of the starship Valiant. She had heard about him from her guide, an older Andari scientist who spoke highly of human ingenuity. Adrian was sitting alone on a bench near the docking bay, looking unusually serious. His brown hair fell slightly over his eyes, and his uniform was neat, but his posture radiated calm control. Leora could not help but feel a mischievous impulse rising in her. Andari children often played pranks, though hers were usually harmless tricks with sound or light. Humans, however, seemed to have a strange appreciation for humor, sometimes even in dangerous situations. Leora wanted to test this. She approached quietly, taking careful steps so he wouldn't notice her immediately. Then, before she could think twice, she did something impulsive. She sat down on his lap. The bench had room, but Leora's sudden movement startled Adrian, who nearly jumped out of his seat. His eyes widened in shock, then narrowed in suspicion. He quickly realized that she was grinning, almost giggling, clearly expecting him to react, but she didn't know what she had just triggered. Adrian's suit, part of a human design used for exploration, was more than just clothing. It was a neural-linked exosuit designed to read subtle physical and emotional cues. Leora's sudden weight on his lap triggered a minor activation of the suit's defense protocol. A small pulse of energy surged outward from the suit, harmless, but enough to startle nearby systems. The lights in the docking bay flickered. Cargo drones froze midair, hovering as if confused. A maintenance droid beeped angrily and started spinning in circles. Other humans nearby looked around, frowning at the sudden disruptions. Leora, oblivious at first, laughed again, thinking Adrian would simply scowl at her. But Adrian did not scowl. He remained seated, his eyes sharp. He adjusted slightly, careful not to trigger a bigger pulse. "You should be careful," he said, his voice calm but carrying weight. "This suit reacts to more than just weight. It interprets intent." "That's exactly the problem. Humans, sometimes their humor can be unpredictable." He paused, then motioned for her to stand. She hesitated, then got up. The moment her weight lifted, the suit relaxed and the pulse stopped. A distant alarm began to sound. The glow of a small, nearby alien artifact started flickering. It had been sitting unattended on a transport platform, apparently waiting to be shipped somewhere. Leora's small joke had caused more than just minor electrical interference. It had activated something dormant. She gasped. "Oh, I think I did more than I meant to." Indeed, that small act just triggered something no one here has touched in years. Leora was surprised at how agile humans were. Adrian moved quickly, with precision and foresight, dodging rolling crates and startled aliens. His suit seemed to anticipate his motions, glinting with a soft blue light. Leora, despite her own species, training in coordination and agility, found herself struggling to keep up. The artifact, a small crystalline structure, glowed brighter as they approached. Symbols etched into its surface seemed to shimmer in response to the energy pulse. Adrian carefully scanned it with a small handheld device. "It's emitting a signal," he murmured. "Something like a beacon, and it's reaching out." "That I don't know," Adrian admitted. "But it's not local. If this keeps broadcasting, it could attract attention, unwanted attention." I did not know this would happen." "Your nature." But she had not realized they were capable of turning simple chaos into opportunity. The alarm grew louder, and security drones approached. Adrian quickly tucked the artifact into a containment field he carried. "We need to move, now." Leora tried to keep her balance as they sprinted over metallic ramps and past hovering cargo platforms. Despite her panic, she couldn't help but notice how calm Adrian remained. Even under stress, he seemed to anticipate obstacles, predict reactions, and adjust without hesitation. Finally, they reached a secure lab area. Adrian placed the artifact on a reinforced table, then activated a protective shield around it. The artifact glowed faintly, now contained but still sending weak signals. Leora leaned against a wall, panting. I only wanted to joke, she admitted again. Adrian shook his head, chuckling softly. That joke may have just started something bigger. But it also shows one thing: humans are never as simple as they seem. Your joke unintentionally revealed that. She had studied humans extensively, but nothing could have prepared her for seeing it firsthand. A simple joke, a moment of impulsiveness, had triggered an event that revealed more about humans than years of observation ever could. Suddenly, the artifact projected a holographic star map into the air above the table. Points of light flickered, showing a distant, uncharted system. Leora gasped. What is that? She had opened a doorway to something unknown, something that might lead them far beyond this spaceport, into a world of adventure, danger, and discovery. She looked at Adrian. He smiled, the first real smile she had seen from him. It wasn't humor exactly. It was a recognition of opportunity, of potential, of challenge. And in that moment, Leora realized she had underestimated humans entirely. Ready? He asked, stepping back from the artifact. Leora took a deep breath. I think so. Instead, she had discovered the truth about humans: unpredictable, clever, and unstoppable. As they prepared to alert the authorities and investigate the artifact further, the lights in the lab flickered once more. The artifact's glow pulsed faintly, as if responding to the very heartbeat of the room. Leora felt a thrill run through her. This was no ordinary adventure. This was the start of something extraordinary, and somewhere, deep in the system, whatever had been listening to the signal began to stir. The glow of the artifact filled the lab with soft, flickering light. Leora and Adrian watched the holographic star map, the points of light blinking like tiny beacons across the void of space. Every flicker seemed to pulse with purpose, as if the artifact were alive and aware of them. Adrian touched a point on the map. This system, it's uncharted. No records, no colonies, nothing, and yet the artifact is pointing straight there. I don't know, but it must be important, and someone or something might be waiting for us there. Adrian was living proof of that. Before they could plan further, the lab's communication console beeped urgently. Adrian answered. Captain Adrian here. Leora watched his composure, fascinated. Even under pressure, he remained calm, precise, and confident. By the time he finished, Commander Rill's voice was measured, though clearly concerned. Understood. Secure the artifact, prepare for inspection, and Captain, do not let it leave the station. If the artifact signals beyond this station, someone could arrive. Not all visitors are friendly. It's alive in a way. It reacts to us. That's why we're capable of solving problems others cannot. Your joke earlier, sitting on me, activated something no one else could. Humans are unpredictable by design. Adrian's suit beeped in response. He checked the readings. Someone is trying to trace the artifact's signal. They're outside the station. Now, they moved quickly through the station, past crowds of humans and aliens. The lights flickered as small pulses of energy from the artifact interfered with the systems around them. Leora noticed the curious glances from passers-by, but no one stopped them. Adrian was like a shadow weaving through the chaos, precise and deliberate. They reached a small shuttle bay. Adrian guided the artifact onto a transport drone designed for delicate cargo. This will keep it safe during transit, he explained. We need to take it to a secure location, away from prying eyes. But if we move quickly, we can stay ahead of whoever, or whatever, is coming. Adrian piloted the shuttle with expert precision. We're heading to an outpost in the nearby asteroid belt, he said. It's isolated, hidden, and secure. We can analyze the artifact there without interference. Fear is natural, but humans turn it into action. That's what makes us strong. Hours passed as they traveled through uncharted space. Leora and Adrian worked in silence, occasionally speaking in soft tones to discuss the artifact. The shuttle's instruments monitored the signal, which pulsed faintly, growing stronger with every passing light hour. Leora's curiosity got the better of her. Captain, why would an artifact like this exist? What purpose does it serve? They leave behind objects like this, capable of great influence, as messages to those who come after. Adrian's eyes narrowed. Or as traps. She had studied humans, but seeing their courage firsthand was different. Their combination of humor, curiosity, and ingenuity made them unpredictable, and that unpredictability was their greatest strength. Suddenly, the shuttle's sensors beeped. Adrian's eyes scanned the displays. We're not alone. But we are in uncharted space. Leora watched in amazement as Adrian navigated between massive rocks, using every sensor to anticipate the movements of the pursuing ship. Humans are incredible, she whispered. Adrian glanced at her. We survive by thinking ahead, adapting, and sometimes taking risks. It's what humans do best. The human capacity to improvise, to anticipate, to respond instinctively. It was unlike anything she had studied. Humans were not the strongest, not the fastest, but their minds were weapons themselves. Hours passed in tense pursuit. Adrian and Leora worked together, each decision critical. They managed to outmaneuver the alien ship temporarily, disappearing into a hidden cavern among the asteroids. Leora gasped as they drifted in the shadow of massive rocks, the stars twinkling beyond. We're safe for now, Adrian said, breathing heavily. But we need to reach the outpost before they regain our trail. I thought my species was clever, but you are something else entirely. One small joke, sitting on a human captain, had led to this adventure, a test of skill, courage, and intellect. As they approached the outpost, lights flickering in the distance, Leora realized something important. Humans were not predictable, not easily understood, and often reckless. Yet their strength lay not in power, but in creativity, adaptability, and the ability to turn small moments into life-saving solutions. And somewhere beyond the veil of space, the alien ship that had followed them regrouped, sending signals to its unseen master. The pursuit was not over. The artifact's call was louder than ever, and its secrets waited to be uncovered. Leora glanced at Adrian. What happens next? The outpost grew larger in their view, lights blinking and shields glowing. Their journey was far from over, and Leora knew that the humans beside her, bold, clever, and unpredictable, were exactly what the galaxy needed. One small joke had started everything. And now, the real adventure was about to begin. The outpost rose from the asteroid field like a small fortress, its metal walls glinting under the distant starlight. Leora felt a mix of relief and awe. She had never seen a human structure built with such efficiency and thoughtfulness. Every turret, every docking bay, and every shield generator seemed designed not just for defense, but for the survival of its inhabitants. Humans always prepared for the unexpected, and this outpost was proof of that. Adrian piloted the shuttle into the docking bay, navigating the tight corridors with precise movements. Leora noticed the hum of machinery and the low chatter of technicians and pilots. Humans were constantly working, repairing, monitoring, and adjusting. There was a rhythm to their activity, a harmony in the chaos. Leora felt a sense of admiration she could not easily express. Once they landed, Adrian guided the transport drone containing the artifact to a secure laboratory. The walls of the lab were lined with reinforced panels and advanced scanning equipment. Scientists and engineers bustled about, speaking in clipped tones and gesturing at holographic displays. Leora observed quietly, absorbing everything. This lab is highly secure, Adrian explained. Only authorized personnel can access it. And with the artifact contained, its signal won't alert anyone else, at least for now. But it is advanced technology, designed to respond and adapt. Some ancient civilizations built machines that could think in ways similar to life. This is one of them. That is why we are here. It could be abandoned worlds, ruins, or life forms we cannot imagine. The artifact pulsed again, brighter this time. Adrian's eyes narrowed. It's responding to something or someone. Perhaps it senses our movement. We need to monitor it carefully. Data streamed across holographic displays. Adrian and Leora studied the patterns together. The artifact's signals seemed to be pointing to a planet in the outer edge of the uncharted system. It was large, with a faint atmosphere and strange energy readings. That's our destination, Adrian said finally. We'll take a small scout ship, minimal crew, maximum control. Any surprises, and we need to respond fast. Its sleek design reflected both speed and defense. Leora studied the controls, fascinated by the simplicity and complexity combined. Humans designed for adaptability, she said softly. Adrian glanced at her. Exactly. A human ship may not be the strongest, but it can respond to situations the builders never imagined. That is why humans survive in the unknown. Hours later, they approached the outer edge of the uncharted system. The holographic map from the artifact projected above the control panel, showing the path through asteroid fields, energy storms, and unknown gravitational anomalies. Adrian adjusted the course carefully, weaving through the hazards with precision. Leora marveled at his skill. How do you humans handle this? Your reflexes, your decisions, it's incredible. It keeps us sharp, alert, and creative. Adrian's eyes narrowed. We are not alone, something is on the surface and it is active. The energy readings from the artifact grew stronger as they approached a central valley, where ruins of an unknown civilization stretched across the landscape. Massive structures, half buried in dust and rock, hinted at intelligence far older than humans or Andari. Leora gasped. It's incredible. So much history, so much unknown. We don't know what defenses remain, what traps might be active, or what life forms survived here. The unexpected here could be lethal. Suddenly, a loud noise echoed through the chamber. Lights flickered, and a wall panel slid open, revealing a small group of figures. Leora froze, and Adrian stepped in front of her, ready to respond. The figures emerged slowly, tall, sleek aliens with metallic exoskeletons and glowing eyes. They spoke in a language Leora did not recognize, but the tone was clear: curiosity, caution, and intelligence. Adrian stepped forward, hands raised slightly. We come in peace. We mean no harm. We are explorers seeking knowledge. But unlike many species she had seen, they did not attack immediately. There was a pause, a moment of judgment. Adrian continued, speaking in measured tones. We follow the signal of this artifact. We wish to understand it and ensure it does not fall into danger. It extended a hand, and a holographic projection appeared, showing the artifact and its history. Leora realized with awe that the artifact was indeed a message from an ancient civilization, meant to test the intelligence and adaptability of those who found it. Adrian glanced at Leora, a faint smile on his face. See, humans are unpredictable, but we can also respond when intelligence and logic are required. That is why we survive and why we are here. The aliens continued their projections, and Adrian and Leora watched carefully, learning about the civilization, its technology, and its warnings. Each pulse of the artifact seemed to guide them, teaching them in subtle ways. Leora realized that humans' ability to learn, adapt, and act in the unknown made them uniquely suited to survive challenges that others might fail. Hours passed as they explored, the artifact guiding them deeper into the ruins. Every chamber revealed new knowledge, new puzzles, and new surprises. Leora felt exhilarated. The galaxy was vast, unpredictable, and full of mysteries, but with humans like Adrian, she realized there was no challenge too great. As night fell on the planet, the ruins glowed softly under the stars. The artifact pulsed gently, as if satisfied with the progress. Leora sat beside Adrian, exhausted but thrilled. "Captain," she said quietly, "humans are truly remarkable. I understand now why your species survives against impossible odds. Humans turn chaos into opportunity. That is why we are here and why we will continue to explore." And somewhere in the shadows of the ruins, the unknown observers of this uncharted system watched closely, taking note of these humans and their strange companion, unaware that they had underestimated the ingenuity and resilience of humanity. The artifact's light pulsed once more, signaling the next step. Leora and Adrian exchanged a glance. Whatever came next, they would face it together. And with humans leading the way, no challenge seemed impossible. The ruins were silent now, but the feeling of being watched lingered. Leora and Adrian had spent hours studying the alien projections, learning about the ancient civilization that had left the artifact behind. The deeper they explored, the more complex the puzzles became, and the more they realized that the artifact was not just a device, it was a test. "We need to be careful," Adrian said, scanning the room with a handheld device. "These ruins are old, but the creators were intelligent. They may have left defenses or challenges to see who is worthy of their knowledge." "But why humans? Why is the artifact responding to your species?" Her playful joke, sitting on Adrian, had revealed a tiny example of that human unpredictability. And now, in the ruins of an ancient civilization, humans were showing that same combination of creativity, courage, and quick thinking on a much larger scale. They continued down a corridor lined with strange symbols that glowed faintly as they passed. The artifact pulsed, leading the way. Occasionally, it sent a wave of energy through the floor, activating mechanisms that opened doors or revealed hidden panels. Leora was amazed. Every step they took seemed to trigger something new. "This is incredible," she said. "It's like the artifact is alive, teaching us as we go. And adaptable, just like humans. Stay close. If we move carefully, we can pass without triggering them. You're timing your instincts. A test, we must solve it to progress further." Slowly, they activated the correct sequence, and one of the glowing spheres floated forward, opening a hidden doorway. "Humans are amazing," Leora said again, awed. "You see solutions others cannot." Holographic screens floated in the air, showing star maps, energy readings, and the locations of other artifacts. The artifact pulsed, pointing toward a central console. Adrian approached it carefully. "This is the heart of the ruins," he said. "Whatever knowledge was stored here, this is where it is concentrated. Information about civilizations, energy sources, even warnings about dangerous areas." "They are testing us further," he said. "We need to think ahead and act quickly." They swiveled and scanned, trying to understand the disturbance. Meanwhile, Adrian moved to the console and began inputting commands. The console responded to his touch, recognizing his neural patterns. Data streamed rapidly across the holographic screens. Leora watched, fascinated, as he interpreted symbols, equations, and energy readings with speed and accuracy. "You humans can think faster than your bodies can move," Leora whispered. Adrian glanced at her, a faint smile on his face. "Our minds are our greatest tools. Strength is secondary. Creativity, problem-solving, and adaptability, that is what makes humans capable of extraordinary things." This one was larger, with a massive crystalline structure at its center. The artifact floated toward it, pulsing with increasing intensity. "This must be the core," Adrian said. "Whatever purpose this place serves, it is concentrated here." Humans face the unknown not with fear, but with courage and intelligence. Adrian acted instantly, using his environment to block and confuse them. Leora assisted, activating energy panels and sending pulses to disrupt the construct's coordination. Together, they moved with precision, outsmarting the constructs at every turn. "This is incredible," Leora said, breathless. "Your species can face overwhelming odds and still find a way to succeed." Information streamed into their minds, knowledge of ancient civilizations, advanced energy sources, and warnings about dangers across the galaxy. Leora felt overwhelmed, but Adrian remained focused, interpreting the data and translating it into usable information. Hours passed as they worked, learning and adapting. The constructs continued to test them, but each time they found new solutions, new ways to outsmart the challenges. Leora realized that humans' unpredictability was not reckless. It was calculated, intuitive, and incredibly effective. Finally, the artifact pulsed one last time and the constructs ceased their attacks. The core glowed brightly, signaling that the test was complete. Leora and Adrian stepped back, exhausted but triumphant. "You did it," Leora said, amazed. "Humans, you are truly remarkable." That small act had set off a chain of events that led them here, to the heart of an ancient civilization's test. She realized that human strength lay not in power alone, but in their ability to think, adapt, and act when it mattered most. As they prepared to leave the ruins, the artifact pulsed gently, as if acknowledging their success. Adrian and Leora exchanged a glance. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. Humans' ingenuity, adaptability, and courage had proven themselves once again. And somewhere beyond the uncharted system, the alien observers who had been watching took note. They had underestimated humans, as so many others had. But now they would learn that humans were not to be dismissed, not in humor, not in war, and not in the vast unknown of the galaxy. Leora smiled at Adrian. "One small joke and look where we are." That is who we are. But humans, clever, unpredictable, and fearless, would continue to explore, adapt, and thrive, no matter what awaited them. The artifact pulsed one final time, signaling the next step of their journey. Leora and Adrian looked at each other, knowing that the challenges ahead would be greater, but so too would be the triumphs. With humans leading the way, there was no limit to what could be achieved. The ruins had quieted after the test of the artifact, but the sense of anticipation hung thick in the air. Leora and Adrian had learned more than they could have imagined, yet there was still one final step. The artifact's last pulse had hinted at something greater, something that awaited them beyond the ruins, beyond the uncharted system. Adrian looked at Leora. "This is it. Whatever comes next will test us, but I have no doubt humans are ready." "And your species?" The holographic projection revealed a new destination, an enormous structure orbiting a small, bright star. It was like nothing Leora had ever seen, massive, geometric, and humming with energy. Adrian's eyes narrowed. Whatever this is, it's the source of the artifact's signal, and it's active. But humans do not back down from the unknown. We adapt, improvise, and act with courage. Suddenly, the sensors beeped violently. Multiple ships appeared, sleek and fast, approaching from the edge of the system. Adrian's eyes sharpened. We've been followed. Those alien observers, they're here. We face what comes, and we find solutions. You think faster than any computer I've seen. The alien ships fired energy pulses, but Adrian used the asteroid field to shield the scout ship. Leora activated the artifact's energy field, creating bursts of light that disoriented the pursuing ships. The combination of human ingenuity and alien technology worked flawlessly. Humans can turn chaos into opportunity, she whispered, marveling at the coordination between them. Adrian nodded, guiding the ship toward the massive structure. Exactly, that is why we survive, that is why we thrive. We need to synchronize with it. Hours passed as they worked, each step requiring precision, intelligence, and intuition. The alien observers tried to interfere, but every attempt was met with human creativity. Adrian and Leora used unexpected maneuvers, exploiting the observers' assumptions about strategy and timing. Humans are unstoppable when they work together, Leora whispered, awe in her voice. Adrian smiled faintly. We survive because we adapt, because we improvise, and because we act when others hesitate. The energy, it's like a heartbeat. He used the structure's energy fields to create barriers and redirect the attacker's energy pulses. Leora manipulated the artifact, sending waves of light that confused and disoriented the enemy ships. Together, they turned defense into offense, outsmarting the aliens at every turn. Humans, you turn danger into triumph, Leora said, admiration clear in her voice. Adrian glanced at her. It's not about strength. It's about intelligence, adaptability, and courage. And sometimes it's about taking risks no one expects. She had seen humans in action, and she understood why they survived where others failed. Their minds were their weapons, and their courage was unmatched. The artifact pulsed one last time, integrating fully with the structure. A holographic projection appeared, showing maps, star charts, energy sources, and records of civilizations across the galaxy. Adrian and Leora absorbed the knowledge, understanding that they had not only survived the test but gained access to intelligence that could change the course of many worlds. This is incredible, Leora said. The knowledge, the power, humans truly are extraordinary. And we explore because curiosity is our greatest strength. A simple act, and look where it led us. Humans had a unique way of facing challenges, turning uncertainty into opportunity and fear into action. As they prepared to leave the structure and return to the uncharted system, Adrian set a course back toward the scout ship. Leora watched the stars through the viewport, thinking about how far they had come. The galaxy was vast, full of unknowns, dangers, and mysteries. Yet humans, clever, unpredictable, and fearless, had proven that no challenge was too great. The alien observers, watching from a distance, retreated silently. They had underestimated humans as so many others had. But now they would remember, humans adapt, improvise, and act when others hesitate. Humans survive where others fail. Humans overcome. Leora glanced at Adrian. Do you think the galaxy is ready for humans? Leora realized that they had not just discovered knowledge, they had become part of it. Humans had proven their value not through sheer power, but through intelligence, creativity, courage, and the willingness to act when it mattered most. The scout ship lifted off from the structure, the stars stretching into streaks of light as faster-than-light engines engaged. Leora sat beside Adrian, exhilarated and humbled. One small joke had started this journey, revealing the depth of human ingenuity and the courage to face the unknown. The galaxy lay ahead, vast and mysterious, yet full of possibilities. With humans leading the way, no challenge seemed impossible, no danger insurmountable, and no discovery beyond reach. Leora knew that this was only the beginning. The artifact pulsed one final time, its light reflecting in Leora's eyes. She smiled at Adrian. Humans are extraordinary. And in that vast, silent expanse, Leora realized the truth she had discovered from the very beginning. One small joke, one impulsive act, had revealed the power, the courage, and the brilliance of humanity. The galaxy would never underestimate them again.